What's going on, guys? Luis here with AmeriFi, back at it again with another unboxing here on the channel. This one, of course, as you can see, this monstrous of a package sent by UPS themselves. This card is a doozy. I love this card. First of all, the style of this card is absolutely fantastic. Of course, this card needs really no introduction because it's both famous and infamous on the same side, which we will get into slightly here in this video, even though this is not a review, it's just an overview of the card itself. But like I said, this card needs no introduction because it is the Apple card. This card is absolutely fantastic. It does have its benefits, but it also has some pretty striking weaknesses in my opinion. This card isn't for everybody, but it is for a small demographic of people that I'd highly recommend this card to, and that is someone like me. But this does have a pretty big flaw to it that I think could be improved by making one slight tweak with the card, that I would think this card would have one of the best cards on the market today for a store card, if you will, if you even want to call it a store card, you know. But I do consider this a store card, seeing as it is an Apple product, of course. But with that being said, let's go ahead and unbox this from this package and see what's inside. All right, so digging into the package itself, we literally just get this little black box, right? Or brown box, excuse me. It's nothing special to it. There's no markings or any indicators of it being an Apple product inside, but it does have this little tab. All you gotta do is pull it here and unbox it. Oh God. Okay, once you removed that, you can just pop it right open and out comes the little white thing, right? And this is where you get all of the fun stuff. Of course, when you open this thing up, it opens upward, and voila, there is the card itself. This is absolutely beautiful, and I love it when cards create an experience for you while, you know, getting the card itself. When you look at the actual card itself, of course, there is nothing on the card. Literally nothing on the card. Your name, of course, the Apple logo, the chip itself. On the backside, there is no identifying markers or anything. You got the strip, of course, the MasterCard, because this is a MasterCard, and of course, it is issued by Goldman Sachs. I gotta say, in terms of credit cards themselves, this is probably my favorite card on the market today because it is just so gorgeous. This is a beautiful card and I absolutely love it. However, this does have a glaring flaw, which we will get into in a second. In terms of activating the card, it is literally as simple as holding the iPhone right here, right over this middle part, to activate the card. As you can see, I have already used it through the mobile wallet, which I literally just have one purchase or something at McDonald's. I decided to get a coffee and a couple of little cheeseburgers, so don't judge me, all right? But to activate the card literally is as simple as doing, if I could get it there, there you go. And then that's it. You just press activate card and there you go. The card is activated. It's literally as simple as that. Like I said, guys, I love it when, you know, card issuers or credit cards give you an experience when opening up their product. Of course, it makes it that much more, I guess, likely that I'm going to use their card just because I grow an attachment to that card based off of the experience that I have gotten from simply opening up the package. I don't think issuers really understand the power behind creating an experience over the credit card. That may be for better or for worse, but again, it is a pretty powerful thing to create an experience behind an unboxing of your product because it creates a certain level of attachment to the product itself, making you use it, therefore them getting more value out of their customer, of course, and you getting more value out of the card itself because it does give you some rewards back, which we will get into here in a second when we go into the website itself. And here we are on the website itself. So as you can see, this is the Apple card, the most beautiful card in my personal opinion on your mobile wallet. Whenever you make certain purchases, every category is issued a certain color, and whenever you use the card in a certain way, it'll turn into that issue's color, or that category's color, right? So as you can see here, there's a variety of different colors, which means this person is using the card in various amounts of locations through various amounts of categories, making it look kind of rainbowy, which I think is fantastic. Of course, the actual metal card itself doesn't do that, but that's an obvious statement of the day, of course, even though the card is beautiful in itself, which we will get into here in a second, but it does have a major flaw. This card, the simplicity of Ample Card in a credit card. This card gives you, as you can see right here, daily cashback rewards. Essentially what that means is once you use the card and it clears, the day after they will issue you your cash back for whatever it is, right? If you use the card through the mobile wallet, you get a 2% cash back. Of course, this card is pretty easy to use. However, where you want to use this, of course, is through the mobile wallet itself, because that's where you get all of your benefits. The big thing behind this is no fees, not even hidden ones. They like to boast this. It's not the only card that offers no fees, but this card really makes it known, if you will, that it has no fees whatsoever. But this right here is probably the most interesting thing about it. They really create an experience for paying off debt, and really lets you see how much money you will save if you pay it off instead of allowing yourself to carry debt over, because it'll tell you exactly how much you'll be saving by paying it off, because you won't be paying any kind of interest on the purchases or anything like that, which is what you should be doing to begin with, right? But this allows you to see it, and this is for those people that really like to carry balances. I don't see why people do that. Honestly, I think it's a lack of knowledge on their part, which is why I'm here. I kind of want to help people in this department. Of course, if you don't carry a balance, you don't pay interest, and that is the beautiful thing about using credit cards. You can able to get cashback rewards without having to pay interest, and it's a beautiful thing, right? So pay off your credit cards is very, very important. Of course, I've already gotten into this daily cashback rewards. Of course, you will get them once the purchase clears on their end, and of course the day after you'll be getting the cash back. So it's not really daily, it's more like a couple days later, of course, but it's not the day of the purchase, I should say. It's more like a few days later after it clears and it posts on your statement. At that point, the following day after that is when you will get the cash back, which is still a lot faster. However, I do gotta say, this has more of an appeal to it, but it's not really necessary, if you will. If it waits for, till the end of the month, or even on the first or at the end of the statement balance, that would probably be the same, if I'm being completely honest, because having a few cents here and a few cents there on a per purchase, really, it's not really usable, right? But it is what it is. Some people really love this feature. To me, I'm kind of indifferent. I think it's cool. It's a really it can be useful, but for the most part, it's really not useful until you've stacked up a certain amount of money. To that extent, then you can use the money itself, right? But for the most part, it's not really usable if you're doing, especially if you're doing a lot of small purchases. You have to wait until it stacks up your cash before you can actually use the cash back on anything prominent, of course, right? Of course, this is the big reason why I decided to get this. Of course, it's 3% cash back when you shop at Apple. This, however, is where this card can shine better. This card is cool and everything, but 3% for a cashback reward at Apple products really isn't that good. If they wanted to be competitive in the store card section of course, credit cards, this should have been 5% instead of 3%. If they can change this to 5% instead of 3%, this would be the most perfect credit card, in my opinion, for a store card, because you get the benefits of a 5% cash back, and you get your Apple products. There is one more thing that kind of goes alongside with this, which we will get into in a second, which makes this just that much better. So if you're able to get 5% back, plus what I'm going to talk about here in a second, it'll be that much better, right? But I wish this was 5%, but it's not. Unfortunately, it is a 3%. So instead of being, oh wow, this is a great card, it ends up being, it's an okay card. But I do still get benefit out of this, if I'm being completely honest, and I do think Apple is taking advantage of the fact that a lot of Apple users are very loyal and dedicated to Apple products. Like myself, I got suckered into this card, and frankly speaking, there's more benefits than there is setbacks, in my opinion, for this card. But it could be better on Apple's part by helping out the consumer if they just up this to 5% instead of 3, but that's just my personal opinion. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about that. But of course, as you see right here, it's 2% cash back anytime you use the Apple Card through your mobile wallet, or Apple Pay, if you will. Other than that, I think it's just 1%, which makes this less than mediocre, if I'm being completely honest. The only time you're getting benefit from this card is if you're using this card through your mobile wallet or Apple Pay specifically, because if you're not using it, you're really leaving a lot of money on the table, a lot of value on the table that's really important for this, you know. If you want to get 3% back, there is a few places that you can, other than, of course, Apple. As you can see here, if you shop at these merchants right here, you get an additional an additional percent, obviously, from a value if you shop at these stores. Myself, I go through T-Mobile, but the M1 Finance Owner's Rewards Card actually gives me 2.5% back, so it's really not a big difference, if I'm being completely honest. And I have the benefit of going and depositing that money directly into my investment portfolio, which has the opportunity to grow further. So honestly, this is just okay. There isn't even a huge list of companies that allow you to get 3%. Again, in terms of 3%, the only thing that, in my opinion, it matters is on Apple products themselves. But so this also has the Apple card family, which allows, you know, the two people, like the mother and the father, for example, to have credit cards, and then they are able to issue, if you will, cards to their children, to which they can, you know, exercise financial responsibility, or teach financial responsibility to their children. So that's something that I'm doing, but I'm not doing it through Apple. If I'm being completely honest, I'm doing it through my own financial institution, which is USAA. And I've already added my daughter onto my credit card, and she is using the credit card to learn financial responsibility. But of course, she doesn't use the credit card unless she has the money to pay off the credit card in full. And that's a habit that I'm trying to teach my children, you know, early or young, so that when they turn 18, they're able to, you know, exercise financial responsibility. And that is where this comes in. Of course, if you don't want to do it through your own personal financial institution, this is a great place to start, because I do think that Apple really hit a home run in terms of teaching financial responsibility to your children, of course. And this card, of course, is great because it has the opportunity to have two co-owners of the card itself, and then you have the children, which are not co-owners, they're just participants in the card itself, which essentially is just an authorized user, right? But that doesn't report to the credit agencies. It's just something that really is just there as a tool to help teach, right? So this is great for anybody in my type of situation who has kids and are ready to show their children a little bit of financial responsibility. And of course, this card really boasts the fact that this is a titanium credit card with, you know, machine or laser etched, if you will, engraving and everything like that. But the bummer is that as beautiful this card is, and as much as you may want to use it, there is no point whatsoever in actually using it, which is kind of weird, having so much emphasis on the beauty of the card, which I gotta say, it's the most beautiful card I've ever seen. But there's no real practicality in using the actual physical card itself, because you leave a lot of money on the table when you use the physical card itself. Therefore, there is no benefit of using it unless it's through the mobile wallet, which again, nobody's gonna see your card at that point, so there's no real point of having a titanium card. But although it is that situation, it is a beautiful card, and I do gotta give credit where credit is due. It's a gorgeous card, but again, not very usable on the physical side, but you get a lot of benefit on the 2% cash back if you're using the mobile wallet. So this is a good card to have, to just if that's all you ever use is your mobile wallet. Of course, this is a great card to have because you do get 2% cash back on all your transactions. But it's kind of a bummer that they didn't just go 2% period on Apple products, right? Or on just any purchase, even with the physical card itself. So this is an Apple product, of course, and with Apple, they do take security pretty seriously. Of course, this is your card, your data, your business. They do like privacy, they do like security, they do like all of that stuff. At least that's what they tell us, of course. And they haven't really given me too much of a reason to doubt them, if I'm being completely honest. A couple of occasions here and there, but of course that's any company. but for the most part, I think they're pretty consistent in these statements right here. But of course, I'll leave that decision up to you on whether or not you believe this or not, of course. But I do tend to like them in this type of department. This is the other big thing that I was talking about earlier. If this was 5% instead of 3%, alongside with this would be the perfect cashback store card, in my opinion, because you're able to buy Apple products with 0 interest for a certain amount of time, of course. And that is where this card shines, in my opinion. The fact that Apple products are really, really expensive, and because they're expensive, a lot of people can't afford buying the newest product out there. So if you have a situation like this where you could just pay for say the latest iPhone, right from the store, if you will, and you pay with your Apple card, you get 0% financing. Essentially, it's the same as paying cash, as long as you pay off the card, the entire, balance by the end of the term. And if that's the case, you have an Apple product same as cash, right? So this is definitely beneficial for those people who really, really love Apple products like I do and buy a lot of Apple products. I don't upgrade every year. I upgrade like every year, sometimes, or every other year, sometimes every third year. But whenever I do like to go for the newest and the greatest, of course, because I want it to last me as long as possible. And in those situations, a lot of the times it's tough to come up with like $1,000 for a new iPhone, or $2,000 for the latest MacBook Pro, for example. Those situations are really tough to just come with cash hand unless you've been budgeting for it and expecting to buy it by a certain date. And if that's the case, great, that's awesome. But realistically, a lot of people are not like that. And if that's the case, this is a great card to have, because if you do have financing, that's 0% financing, as long as you paid off within that time limit, of course. Throw in the 3% cash back, and this just ends up being a great deal all the way around, in my opinion. Again, it would have been better if it was 5%, but that's neither here nor there. That's not the reality of the situation. I wish it was 5%, but realistically, it's only a 3% with 0% financing available, which is absolutely fantastic. And of course, it is issued by Goldman Sachs. It's kind of funny because they do advertise that Apple created the credit card. I don't know the extent of their involvement with the card itself. I want to think that the extent of their innovations was on the app itself, because it is very innovative in that department. But they did have to go through Goldman Sachs to approve a lot of the things that Apple wanted, of course, for this card. Again, I still want to emphasize, I really wish it was 5% over instead of 3%, but hey, that's neither here nor there. Goldman Sachs is the issuing company here, and really it's a great deal. I do want to say though that if you want to apply for the Apple card, it is a soft pull initially, so you are able to find out whether or not you're getting approved before you accept any terms or anything like that. Therefore, you do not get a hard pull on your credit report at all unless you accept those terms. And if that's the case, then they will do a hard pull. But the fact of the matter is, they don't do a hard pull if you're just simply trying to find out if you're going to get approved or not. That is a wonderful thing. Anytime a company does that, I love it, because you're able to see if you're able to be approved and not risk your hard pulls on your credit report, dropping your credit score even further. Of course, normally it's only a few points, but still, regardless, and it is temporary, but again, still regardless of the situation, anytime you can avoid having your credit inquiries, of course, getting hard pulled, that's better, because your credit is not being affected. So the fact that they do have a pre-approval process is absolutely fantastic, because soft pulls do not affect your credit report. All right, there you have it, guys. This one was kind of a longer one in my personal opinion, but there was a lot to talk about. This card is pretty innovative. It's very different than any other card. This isn't a review, of course. This is just an overview of the card itself. But I gotta say, this card is absolutely beautiful, absolutely fantastic. It's a card that I wish I could use physically, because it is titanium and it is a cool looking card. It's very beautiful and sleek, of course. But the fact of the matter is, using the card physically is absolutely useless, because you get more benefit from other cards out there. On top of that, The card really should have been 5% on Apple products, seen as it is a store card of sorts. So having it 5% would have made it a great option, but it's not. It's only 3%, so that's neither here nor there. On top of that, you do also have the benefit of having the 0% financing on Apple products themselves, which is absolutely fantastic in my opinion. Had that been 5% alongside with the 0% financing, it would have been the perfect store card, as I've said before. But it's not that way. It's only 3% with 0% financing, which is still a good deal in my opinion. It's just not the best deal I've seen from a store card. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed this one, do me a huge favor, drop a like on this video. Also subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, because it really does help this channel grow. So with that being said, catch you guys in the next one. Deuces.